Oh my God. Hey everybody. Social media family. And any visitors to that being on my own personal channel and chat room or whatever it is we call whatever one wants to make of it. Being which is just one among others for this particular social media website address. Being which is commonly called and likewise commonly known as YouTube. And as I go up under my real name, as you know, you can take it for what you want, but it is that being which that is my account is labeled as being, unless I wish to sometime in the future, like say, want to change it to that of a different name for evident or obvious reasons, purposes for that of my person haven't said so. Being a wish should prove to have become or be a no-brainer as it's self-explanatory, as well as it would go double or triple to be said. Due regard in reference to considering the times that we are living in, being of which is that much more fulfilling biblical prophecy for this post 911 era, with all these haters and or criminals or whatever source or types upon the increase. And whereas it is bad enough to have to put up with the nonsense, so much unfounded or unwarranted or unjustified hatred and jealousy come from the likes of a male character of a proverbial neighbor from hell among the dime a dozen. Public nuisances are problem neighbors. Then have to put up with characters otherwise, But then certain neighbors themselves are the ones, whom I had mentioned much earlier, the same in the said question. And the former previous prime mentioned, we at times be moonlighting as, stalkers upon the outside, as well as they be attempting to come off like home invaders or intruders for atmospheres of premises, properties, of places of residences, etc. Then, where they can compare on to some of such others that they be moonlighting as, more than quite a few of them at times, as crank callers and internet trolls, etc. But I ain't gonna worry about it because I got God on my side, really not. Regardless of how I may be like feeling at one time or another. As the president one time, I feel a little bit up under the weather, so just bear with me, you all. If that being of my broadcasting may not be so much as what any of you all may be familiar with, be you my social media family or visitors to some of such of my channel and our chat room who are familiar with my social media broadcasts or videos, and yet there are still others, who may yet to pay a visit to some of such. Yeah, whereas it would appear to be that much less of familiarity, so far as the speaking or voicing of my views and opinions, express myself is concerned. No, I don't mean whereas I should sound or seem to be to some like as if I'm contradicting myself. I mean that. Okay. Other than that, pray for me as well as I would think to pray for any of you all. Okay. But then if you come on my channel or into my chat room or whatever I said, that's speaking correct, proper standard English grammar, American dialect, or some of such qualities and quantities than not. But then employ the usages discretion. I would appreciate it if you could possibly be one of those negative internet trolls who want to attempt to sabotage what I have here, or what I had established a rapport with this one particular social media website address. So far as an account is concerned, then, because I'm not going to permit you to attempt to use my own personal channel in a chat room as a platform or podium for your contradictory, non-beneficial nonsense. It's not happening. All right? I mean, you're not going to disrespect my channel in our chat room. And like, say, for example, like this one character, he has paid my channel in our chat room visit a number of times, more than quite a few times. He had left his unwanted, unjustified messages in that of the format of negative comments, you know. And I'm not even a big time YouTube celebrity as yet, you know. He just coming here acting like wow, like not just quite, but really so much like a dickhead, a dickhead prick. Sorry about that, but I think you all get the general idea of what I'm trying to say. Not that I have had to go there to describe himself or his character. Let's just say, to rephrase that, he himself is quite a crackpot or a crank, or a crazy man, as well as an idiot, to be compared onto my present proverbial neighbor from the hell of a male character, being among the likes of dime a dozen public-nuisances problem. Yeah. I mean, I can't permit somebody to come in here and that come on my channel or into my chat room, then constantly or continually abuse the rights and privileges of my person permitting access to a character as that man, regardless of whether one would be male or female. You know, I mean, once I were to figure out the different features, you know, as to not only let's figure out the different features, what I mean to say, figure out the different features again, or once again become familiar with how to work the mechanisms to not only from silencing a character of the likes of an internet troll to blocking one altogether and possibly permanently, because the majority of most persons likes of characters who could come off like negative internet trolls after they were to become a participant among others to, you know, view my channel in a chat room and, you know, give their own personal views and opinions. If it is negative, the majority of the likes who will come off like negative internet trolls, I block them permanently, because life is too short. And they have some not only stupid but sick person that can remind me of a neighbor from hell, one of the public-nuisance problem neighbors, to come on my channel, come into my chat room with only the sole reason or purpose being, of which is to attempt to trash it, to attempt to make it a trashy circuit, and to make others feel uncomfortable about paying a visit to it if a character like that is going to be, attempting to spread all of one's garbage, trash, or filth upon my channel or in my chat room are so much ridiculously ignorant and or insane, not to mention impolite or stupid, sadistic, and rude rhetoric of prejudice, racist bigotry. Mouthing off like so, whereas one would express oneself in a way that would be considered as a hate crime, be compared on the phone harassment, you know what I'm saying? All that negative verbal abuse, I don't need that in my life, especially if I could possibly already be feeling down in the dumps or a little bit up under the weather, with this forever changing temps like some or such a mad scientist is attempting to once again throw a monkey wrench in Mother Nature's program, be one American, Russian, German, or etc. Yeah. I don't need somebody attempting to change the format, attempting to start a counter revolution to my revolutionary channel or chat room for progress on a positive note of interest that could possibly benefit one and all of social media family members and visitors to my own personal channel and chat room, where at times I could sound off and seem like quite the looney-tunes otherwise. Not that I mean to be sound like some kind sort of type of a prejudiced racist bigot myself, to sound and seem like other likes of characters being of whom I vowed that I would never become or be, No. And because life is too short, life is like a vapor. And if anything, I would rather try to think of it with mind's intention as a believer in God, as a Christian, a.k.a. Protestant, to try to think to promote God's kingdom upon the face of the planet Earth. Before either the end of the world or second coming of Christ or the end of my world or my life, before I were to be, called up to glory to make that transition for the great beyond of the hereafter, the afterlife, as a believer in God, who I would like to think would have done quite well for the greater glory, to try to think to promote God's kingdom upon the planet Earth for all, by that helping others to do just that, by spreading the gospel message of our Lord and Savior, the Christ, the Messiah, deliverer, in truth, not like one of them false brethren of the likes of false prophets or antichrist or prosperity preachers or closet devil worshippers, being of whom are only thinking about what they can get out of this world by making others to become subject to experiencing themselves being used as human guinea pig projects to become somebody else's meal ticket of a gullible fool who could, empty their wallets and purses, this one and that one, much needed monetary finances being of which they could put toward something else than to be given away to these jive preacher men scheming and scamming, fleecing the flock of gullible fools, being of whom I would like to think that more than less would finally let the light bulb come on in their heads, and then recognize and realize that they had been scammed. And where sometimes we can become and be our own worstest enemy, not just worst, but worstest enemy. If we let somebody else catch us with our jaws down, or be it that we were to come off like a likes of a character, being of whom we could have possibly in time past at one time or another vowed that we would never become or be in the future. Okay. And then everybody comes tonight, y'all. I just feel so out of it. Other than that, I hope that this particular, I'm going to call it, I'm not sure, but I hope this particular social media broadcast, if you don't mind, will prove to have become more than just entertaining to interview all, but more of some such that would be considered that educates and enlightens another or other, because that is the primary, basic reason or purpose for my person having established rapport with YouTube, that this particular social media website address to acquire an account, than to just be all mainly, mostly, or worse yet, altogether just about fun and games and some goofy stuff, Okay. Whereas if anything, I would want on my own personal channel or chat room to be considered as the equivalent at times of a serious, bona fide, official news network, for starters, or to name just one, more than quite a many different other formats for I myself being dead in my person to possibly make it out to become or be, especially in due regard and reference to becoming or being of qualities and quantities of a religious, supernatural, or spiritual one. You understand? Now, I don't mind if somebody coming to my that's come on my channel in my chat room. They have criticism or sarcasm, provided that they, employ the uses or use discretion in giving my person a rebuttal or response or reply. Otherwise, where there is a lack of communication, where conversation ceases, then whereas there are no words being exchanged, between or among responsible, intelligent, mature parties, then someone has to man up and decide enough is enough and tell another person or other people, I'm sorry, but this is a done deal for me. This is history. I cannot continue to have you entertain the thought that I am supposedly to be taken hostage by you or taken prisoner to your rather twisted, warped, wicked mindset. It's not happening. It just ain't, because I have much more important things to do with my life, whereas Mother Nature could possibly put a beating or whipping upon one or more than quite a few or many, enough as is the case or situation, especially if any looney-tunes, mad scientists are attempting to throw a monkey wrench in Mother Nature's program. Okay? Yeah, so this one male character, he becomes on my channel into my personal chat room be leaving this negative comments and whereas I know some may say, if I were to say, and he don't have a face to his profile, some would say, but neither do you. But then when I come on here, y'all can see what I look like, in my videos, Anyway, though, getting back to him, he don't have a face to his profile, but whereas he's using a South Park cartoon character's face as a substitute replacement for his own. Because that's what usually the likes of those particular cowards do. They want to hide behind some suspicious looking, face for their profile. Then if you were to check the different channels, chat rooms out, these different negative internet shows, you would also find out from there, the ones that have no faces and come up like those kind of characters that would be a life that would be considered as negative internet trolls. If you would check their channels or chat rooms, however said, you would find out that they don't have anything that is associated with that of their own personal channels and on chat rooms. They have made no videos. They have made nothing. The only thing you would find otherwise would be maybe a couple few comments in their comment section, and mainly or mostly it'd be others or the likes of that kind, unless it'd be somebody else that is reprimanding them, like I myself had to reprimand him. I told him, as a matter of fact, I said, look here, dude, guy, fella, if you don't have anything good or positive to say or that could prove to become or be beneficial, not only for me, but for all social media founding visitors alike, or whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, if you don't have something positive to say, because you're always getting on my channel or coming to my chat room, you always got all this negativity, this negative, stinking, foul, funky, stinky, stanky, negative, non-beneficial, contradictory remarks or comments against my person. If all you have in your mind is to mouth off in a negative way, then I would appreciate it if you don't pay my channel and our chat room any future visits here on out. Because if you come in with the same old thing, come in with the same old thing so far, my personal channel and chat room took to diss me, to disrespect it, then first of all, I'm going to silence you, then I'm going to block you. And you could possibly be put on one of those block lists, whereas it would be the ones of those men of whom the majority or most who I block, they are blocked permanently compared to the few that I block that I will permit re-entry, for that my channel and on chat room or social media broadcasts or videos. That's just me, y'all. That's how I always been, When somebody comes on my channel in my chat room, and don't get me wrong, I give them the benefit of the doubt and let them voice their views and or opinions for practically and possibly the longest, But after a while, when they really start to, like piss me off, then first of all, I silence their chats. Then second of all, I block them, and they are blocked permanently. Like so those kind. Once I would have, figure out once again how to manage the different features to do just that. From silencing to blocking. Because I ain't gonna have somebody come to my personal chat room and be like, yada yada yada, call me everything but the child of God, etc. In addition to call me maybe from a gay guy to a homo to a faggot. Gay guy, homo, faggot, the same thing. What I mean to say. Principle continue regular in my mind compared to our principle to confuse my speech and I think of it with that in my mind attention. To try to backtrack here with no purpose being, and so I can go on following to continue from where we end that my person last left off so I can finish up as a complete form of previous Friday I thought. And whereas the likes of them would call me from a gay guy or a homo or faggot to call me a gay pedophile Catholic priest wannabe or something else that is just as negative and that would be of a lie and that would be considered as, according to legal terminology, as slander and libel. Whereas there's a difference. When you slander somebody, you slander them by means of word of mouth. Whereas libel, on the other hand, it's whereas you would put it in the printed word format, what you think of another person. But you have legit beef with one or not, But in this case, this guy, fellow, dude, he don't have any legit beef with me that's real or true because I have never done anything to this guy, fella. I've never done anything to him to warrant all that to justify his verbal abuse against me, whereas as well as his unwarranted or unjustified is also unwanted. Yeah. And I'm not having it because I'll be like ready to flip him the bird or give him the finger. But then I must remember not to do something of that nature, or rather, then to possibly destroy my good testimony, my good testimony in Christ's name, that much more if I would have come off playing the part of the devil's advocate. And that's lesson 2, being a prodigal son with a character like that. And whereas the worst 2 evils, any of those being of whom are not just the worst, but the worcest closet devil worshippers, being of whom make up the majority of most church-goers or whatever religious denomination, from the pews to the pulpit, of the different churches. Yeah, I'm saying I ain't got no time for no whatchamacallit to make me feel like I've been sweated by a neighbor from hell or by the likes of a Catholic priest who's in the board or whatever. Anyway, though, let me give it a closed shop, you all. And I hope that any of you have at least enjoyed the broadcast and whenever try to figure out what I'm saying, what I was saying, and then from there, become educated and enlightened by it, so that some or such of you otherwise can be considered of the likes that would have grasped what I would like saying that much sooner to become educated or enlightened by this particular present social media broadcast or video of mine. But let me close shop on this last note of interest by saying, if you haven't gotten Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, I hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your veins. But recognize or realize, however, what he himself had done upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffering at the hands of some of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors in one regard or another, including the likes of religious Pharisees and Sadducees. Then nevertheless, whereas he was willing to give his life in ancient times, by permitting himself to be crucified on that cross of Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, suffer at the hands of Roman soldiers upon the orders of their superiors. So that if any of us were to profess faith in him, we don't have to worry about our final outcome becoming the lake of fire, damn hell with the rest of the unbelievers and unbelievers we will be assembled with to be tortured by the devil and the demons for all eternity. But we will be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell, among other like-minded believers in God and in present God and his angels, as we would be considered as citizens of the kingdom of heaven otherwise, and even so be blessed down here while we're upon the planet Earth, until we will make that transition for the great beyond of the hereafter, or the afterlife for any of us believers in God or whatsoever races and of whatever walks of life. Hey, you all take care and be safe. Be blessed, not stressed if and when you can or could possibly become or be of a status as that being if you're not already. And I'll holler at you later. And the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, as they say. Yeah. Y'all take care and be safe and be careful on the streets out there. Be on public transit or be careful in regard to certain neighbors that will be moonlighting as spooks that sit by the door. It could possibly be the likes of closet rapists and closet pedophiles, among other riffraff to be possibly considered peace.